Welcome to Dunsmore Moving Dirt. We're out here where we started the stock tank. We call them tanks in Texas. A lot of people call them ponds, but I say stock tank or tanks, so you'll know what I'm talking about. Started it the other day and it's starting to shape up a little bit. It was real unrough, hole in a hump, a creek running through there. And what you want to do first of all, as quick as you can, is to get it level. If you got to just cut some humps and fill in some of the creeks and stuff to get it all level, and then you start going down with it. It's a excavated hole. It's a perfect circle, or perfect, I measured it. I mean, yeah, it's 162 foot around, 81 foot radius, and you set you 8 stakes around the outside edge, and that's where your excavation starts, from the stake down. It will be 14 foot deep. When you get down to the bottom at 14 foot deep, you'll have a 50 foot circle or 25 foot radius down in the bottom, and it's a designed hole, so any place in this circle, the slopes have to be 4 to 1 going down. If you wind up getting too flat, you have less bottom, and it will not pass inspection for the yards that's got to come out of it. So they're pretty easy to dig if you've dug some. If you get one and don't know what you're doing, it can be a mess. Or if you ever try to go up the slope sideways, you'll cut them out and try to square them up. So probably 80% of the ones I build are round holes. It don't bother me whether it's square, rectangle, or round. Some people don't like building round holes. They just can't figure out how to get it dug out and keep it looking like something, but it's not really that hard. When you're cutting dirt with a bulldozer, you can there's several applications you can do. You can be up on level ground pushing piled dirt to someone dirt, spreading it out, and that's pretty much level ground cutting. Or you can cut on level ground and cut humps and fill holes. It's a different story when you're starting to dig a hole and push the dirt out of the hole. You never want to wind up cutting uphill and then trying to push your dirt uphill at the same time. That makes a long day. It's hard to do that. Always try to cut downhill and push your dirt uphill. And so you've got to kind of keep your slopes built as you go down, because if you get down 8 foot in the ground and your slopes are not right, and you got to start biting into the slopes or ripping them up, pushing them uphill, you're doing the one thing you don't want to do. You're cutting dirt uphill and pushing dirt uphill at the same time. So one thing I don't like how this is laid out is half the hole is open. This half, that's quite a bit. That's half the hole. There's 4 stations open, there's 4 stations closed with the spoil that's pushed out. I call it a dam, but it's really a spoil, because most of these, and I've dug them that way before, dug them up, and the county comes out and they need the dirt, they haul the dirt off, and the hole still holds as much water. It's just a hole in the ground. It's all excavation. This is not a dam style tank, it's a pit stalls. A dam is always a fill, and you impound water. So, and then the part where you get the dirt for a dam is your bar pit, and it can have any shape at all. The shape of it doesn't matter at all. It's the dam, it's the structure that you're filling that's got the yards in it. You just get that yards out of a hole and make it meet specs. So, but now, to keep from shoving dirt, cutting dirt uphill, you always want to try to keep this half, or wherever you're climbing up, you want to keep it lower than this back here. This can get 4 foot higher than this, because you don't have to cut it going uphill. You cut it downhill, but you're still pushing it uphill. You can push dirt uphill, cut dirt downhill. So sometimes if it's, and what's good about it is usually the lowest part of your spoil is where the creek goes through there, and that's where you need most of the dirt. So usually it's right in line with where I'm sitting. You push it straight across, but that's a long push. because you're cutting up there, you're pushing it all the way across the tank and all the way out. So what I usually try to do, I'll get this quite a bit lower, and I'll start back here, and I'll just start pushing this dirt, and I'll just lose it down here where I've caught this cut out. When I get this down, I come up here and make short passes and dig it out and put it on top. It seems like it works better that way. Than, I know it's the same distance, but it don't feel like it when you make short passes. And when you make short passes, when you just back up here and bite in, you keep that slope from getting too long, and then you can stand to fit. It's better to keep that slope a little short, because they fill up automatically, because you're coming up and you're pushing dirt uphill. 4-to-1 slope. For every foot you come out, it comes out 4 foot. So if you're 7 foot in the ground, there ought to be 28 foot of slope. And like I say, you can, once you dug some, we used to dig them 3.5 to 1, which is just a little bit steeper. A 3 to 1's a whole lot steeper, but 4 to 1's pretty good slope. Push dirt up. So, but then once you get past the stakes, you can level it out a little bit. You don't have to keep that 4 to 1 all the way up to the top of the spoil or the dam. You can just lay it out however much room you got to push your dirt. You always want your spoil or your dam a little bit higher in the center of the tank and taper down to the ends. That's the spillway end over here, because that side's higher where my pickup's parked. But anyway, I'm going to set my camera up maybe over here on the tripod. It's finally warmed up a little bit and the wind's not blowing too much. Let y'all see some of that. It's good dirt. It'll be all red stuff when I get, this is all a lot of silt and topsoil washed down here. So it's gonna make a nice pond in here, because these big mesquite trees and stuff, it'll look good when it's full. It'll back water up out of the hole and up around them trees when it's spillway level. So anyway, I'm going to back up here and start cutting some of this out and just losing it down here. Then I'll pick it on up. So we'll let y'all see some of that after a bit. they nibbled on a few of them, but I think I may have to stop over there on the other side. There's one that's hard to see. Most of the, close to where I'm going out, it's down to the red dirt, and I still got some topsoil looking dirt back here in the back, but I'm going to get that down just a little bit lower. It just, you constantly got to keep this front half down. It's just, you start off with it level, then you back up here to get this back here in the pie part, which if you remember, you call it the pie because if you look at it, it just comes to a point and looks like a piece of pie with this stuck in here, but that's what they usually call it. This is the pie. And you can let that get higher, but next to the slope, you need to keep that lower than anything. Level or lower. Lower's better. That way it'll kind of come out. The slopes will automatically get long by themselves with you just pushing dirt. So, like I say, you're trying to, in one of these, you're trying to dig dirt and push it out of the hole. I said earlier, you want to dig as much downhill as you can, and you'll be pushing uphill, except for the back part that we call it the pie, because you're cutting it downhill, but you're always pushing it uphill out of the tank. So that's about the only spot on one of these that you cut downhill is the back slope or the pie of it. And that's why the slopes are pretty easy to keep back there, because you're cutting them downhill. You're not cutting them uphill. Or you don't have to, you can let them get a little bit long, but it's so much easier to cut dirt downhill than it is cutting it uphill. You hear people talking about slot dozing. It's hard to do that in a round hole because you've got to bring it down all the same with that, except for the back. You need to constantly be backing up to the middle and pivoting around the middle to hit your slope straight, because there are no straight sections in a round hole. If there are, you've got a flat place in your slope as far as being in a circle. That's one thing about a square or a rectangle hole. Your slopes are straight to each corner, and you can actually slot those in a square or a rectangle hole to a certain point. But you don't want to let the slopes get so far ahead of one another where you're slot dozing, because it's hard to keep everything in line. You can look at a corner from another corner and you can see if your slopes are got any humps in them or not. You can tell if they're too long pretty easily. But that's just one problem you got to watch on your slopes. You can have a hard spot in the ground and you can go below it and keep digging, and you can have a hump in your slope, or you can have a swell in your slope. A swell is not as bad as a hump, because if there's a hump in it, you'll be on the inside of their line at checkout, and that'll show that you don't have enough dirt taken out of the tank. You can have a swell in there, and just means you've cut more dirt than you're going to get paid for. You get paid by the design yardage on the tank, unless you've made a deal with the landowner and he wants to go deeper than what it's called for. On these, you have a 50-foot bottom in the bottom. which you've got room to go deeper. Some people just want to stop where their design depth is at 14. If it's good digging, you can go on down a couple more foot before you run out of room. And if that's what they want to do, I'll just have them measure they can either measure the tank when you get through, and they'll know where their spot stops, and you can get them to figure the total yards for it. And that's what the customer will pay for. You agree on a price, and then, but there won't be any assistance if they're in the program for what is above their design yardage on these things. So every now and then I'll make one that the landowner will want to go below and beyond what it's designed to be, and that's fine. All the program requires is that you move a certain amount of yards of dirt in a certain design, and after that you can make it deeper, bigger, whatever. Some people don't want to give an extra yard, which they try to cut them real close to the design. And again, if you'll figure what the time it takes you to be right on the line and not give nothing away, it's cost you more than you're ever going to give away. So and then if there's a spot where you did not meet specs and you're trying to cut it to the design, and that's taking time and money that you should have already done when you was digging it. So for me, it works out better just to overbuild a little bit. You can let the landowner know you've overbuilt it, and that's just more water that he'll hold, and it's not costing him nothing. So then you're not sitting there slowing down trying to get it just right so you don't give away nothing. You'll spend more than what you're going to get from it if you'll just overbuild it a little bit. When you're digging these things, it's easy to tell where you're at if you stop and set your level up and shoot your depth. Then you measure your bottom, and if you like so many feet, let's just say you sit up and you like 8 foot having your depth. You need to know how much bottom you're supposed to have, and that'll tell you whether your slopes are long or short if you can't tell by going up and down them. If you like 8 foot, there's 4-to-1 slopes. So you multiply what you like by 8. That's both sides of your hole. 8 times 8 is 64. So you've got to have 64 foot plus there'll be a 50-foot bottom in it when you get through. So 64 and 50 is 114. So you need to have a 114-foot bottom at that point in your excavation. If you do not have that distance, 114 foot, your slopes are too long, and if they're too long for very much, you got a lot of cutting to do into the toe of that slope. That's when it gets tough, because you're cutting uphill and you're pushing uphill. I usually don't. I'll check it out usually one time when I think I'm getting close. Oh, maybe when I'm 10 foot in the ground, or when I get to the bottom of my test pit, which is, I can usually tell, I know I'm pretty much 10 to 11 foot in the ground. And I'll check it then, and then when I think I'm about at my depth, and usually I've got plenty of slope at that depth, which is what you want. Like I say, you can lose it in a hurry if they get long on you. I've dug enough of them, I can pretty much go by feel, the way the dozer's climbing it, if it's too steep or too flat. Like I say, we used to dig them, they used to be all 3.5 to 1 slopes, which for every foot you go down, you come out 3.5 foot on your slope. 4 to 1 slope's a little flatter, you come out 4 foot for every foot you go in the ground. So most of the dams, if I'm building a true dam, the front slopes are usually 4 to 1. The back slope is usually 3 to 1. Which a 3 to 1, you build it as you go. I try to keep them pretty close. And sometimes it's hard to see if you've got a hump in your slope, if it's very big of a hump, because sometimes you don't know whether you've bit too much in at the bottom. But there's a good way that I use to tell. And you've got to be deep enough in your tank, you've got a lot of slope to back down, but if you start to back up, if you'll just close your eyes and just feel your dozer, just don't look till you level out and you know you're in the bottom. Now if there's someone else working with you, that's hard to do, unless you know they're going up the slope when you're coming down. But if you'll close your eyes and just concentrate on the feel of that dozer, you can feel a hump in the slope. And you can also feel if you've got a straight line in that slope, because you can feel that dozer coming straight down. It don't raise up, or it don't, you can just tell the way it comes down the slope. It's easier on a dam because you've got a lot more slope. But you can tell it on anything you're going up and down. If you can feel that dozer as it comes down the slope, if you got a problem in the slope. So don't try that if you haven't been running the dozer very long, but after you have, you can feel it. You can feel it going up it. Sometimes it's harder because if you're trying to clean your slope up or something, you're putting your blade down and you're rearing your dozer up in the front, and that'll throw your feeler gauge off. So you need to be doing, that's why it works better when you're backing down, because you're not doing nothing with your blade to raise the front of your dozer up. But all day you just sit here and just keep pivoting around, and then here after a bit I'll back up, start cutting the pie out. And like I say, I usually don't carry it all the way across in one cut. I'll put it down here till I get it kind of level with the hole, and then I'll just stay down here in the front, carry the dirt out. If you got two dozers working, one can stay close and one can stay to the back and be pushing it down, and we'll let one carry it out. So watching Dunsmore Moving Dirt. I had started recording and I seen something red on my camera and looked at it. And then it dawned on me I didn't have my SD card in there because I was unloading it last night. And, left the house, got my charged up batteries, but I didn't get the SD card. So anyway, hit the right button so we can go. Okay, now, so anyway, I had the drone in the back cab, so I got it, stole the card out of it. So I just got to remember to put this card back in the drone and get my other card off the desk where I left it. But it's a drizzly morning this morning. It hadn't really rained that much. It just enough to kind of get the road just a little bit wet, but we got a chance to rain next couple days, a 40% chance one day, and I'm going to go ahead and build just a little old block around this end here. It's kind of like insurance. You hope you don't ever have to use it, but if you do, you got it. I hope I don't need this block to hold water, but if I'd rather have it, don't need it, then need it and didn't build it, because that thing right there would hold a lot of water if it was level full of water right now. So I don't have to go all the way. I need to go from about where that pile of dirt there is, catch it hit right, and then between these two flags is where the water comes in and tied into this pile of dirt here. And it won't take much. And then I can just back up on it while I'm digging it. Then I'll just leave it up here, because this old hill here is pretty clayey and catches off a little old road here that runs alongside the fence. So if it was to come a hard rain, it would run a little bit of water, because before I started the tank there was some water standing in this draw, and the tank below is plumb full. It was dry, so of course that was probably a 5 or 6 inch rain. But like I say, I'd rather have it than sit out here and wish I did while I'm pumping water, you know, for a day. So that's not no fun, especially this time of year. Summertime you can go swimming if it gets hot, but it's not too good this time of year. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do first, is build this little dike around this edge here, and then I'm going to dig some more of that out of there. So we'll let y'all see that when we get started. Thanks for watching. Bye. Well, the sun is just about to go down. Now's the time I need to be climbing that slope over there, because a while ago, about the time you hit the top of that, it hit you right in the eyes, and there was nothing you could do but just squint and hope you stopped before you went over the back. You can just shove this way, the other opposite way, just so much, but you got to go that way every now and then. Anyway, just got the dozer filled up and got it ready for tomorrow. And take these off where I can see. It is going down pretty good. Went down pretty good today. I'm thinking, I hadn't even set the level up yet. I think I'll get my depth probably tomorrow. I may take a shot on it about dinner or something, but it's starting to get pretty. It'll have a 50-foot bottom in it, so it'll have a pretty big bottom in it, but it rips up good. Matter of fact, that dirt, it rips up good, but it sure goes under your blade when you're going up the slope. Every now and then you just got to stop and clean your slopes up, or you'll have them way out. But I'm probably gonna pull them flags tomorrow. I'm tired of going around them. I don't need them now. I may take part of this. They said we had a chance of rain one day, so I built a dike here just in case. And I've either got to leave it and put it up on the end of the dam, but I've got topsoil here and I got topsoil there. I may just shove it down in the hole in the morning and carry it out. Then I don't have to chase it all the way around the edge. About the first 50 foot of that topsoil, I'll put that on the dam so I can leave it, just get this old red stuff off and shove it in the hole and take it out and put it over the dam. I guess that's the best thing to do with it. I've got some topsoil here, a little bit. I can spread it out up toward that old cow, or it's not much. I was trying to save them as many trees as I could. I've got room. I can go between the hole and that tree right there with it. Just put it up on the end of the dam. Maybe put a little bit right back here. I kind of dug a little hole when I was clearing that out and pile. I still got to pile my brush up after I get it topsoil, but like I say, it really went down today, because that bottom was a whole lot bigger than that this morning when I started. So that's gonna make a nice hole. Anyway, we'll be back out here tomorrow. Set it up, camera up, let you see some of that tomorrow as we go down. So just takes a little longer when you just got half of the hole open. Half of the hole's open and half of it's closed off with the dam. So I'd like to have one more station. I was wanting to come over, bring the dam over to this station, but it just got too high. I'd want to spill around the other side. Couldn't have that, so that's what I'd planned. And that takes a lot of dirt, every station that you leave open, see, which your dam don't get so tall, which it was low over there, so I got it tall. I still got to knock it down and slope it down. So, but it'll work all right. If it had been real hard digging, that'd have been worse, but since it was pretty good digging, it wasn't bad to have half of it open and half of it closed. So anyway, that's all we're gonna do today. So appreciate y'all watching this channel. If you hadn't subscribed, wish you'd do that and hit the like button, share it with all your friends, and like always, enjoy the comments and questions if you have any. I'll try to answer them the best I can. So usually I'm not awful clear on stuff when I'm running and talking and stuff, so I can't do a whole lot at one time. But anyway, I'll try to answer any questions you might have about anything. So till tomorrow, remember, keep your blade shiny and your tracks clean. Bye.